A man found a cocoon and watched it carefully for about a week. Then, one day, it turned almost transparent, and a crack appeared. Intently, the man waited to see a butterfly slowly slipping through the bottom. When halfway out, it seemed as if all activity had stopped and that the butterfly could go no further on its own. So the man took a pair of scissors and snipped the bottom of the cocoon to help the butterfly by making a bigger opening. The butterfly then emerged easily, with its swollen body and shriveled wings. The man watched, expecting any moment for the wings to unfold and the butterfly to take flight. But it just hung there until it dropped to the ground exhausted. The creature crawled around on its swollen body and was never able to fly. What the man did in his kindness and haste was to hinder the natural process that a butterfly must go through in order to properly develop. He did not let it happen in God's time. You see, a butterfly struggles to get through the tiny opening of a cocoon. The fluid in its swollen body is then forced into its wings. Then it hangs at the bottom of the cocoon, sometimes for hours, pumping the fluid through the wings, preparing them for flight. In trying to help hurry the process along, the man actually did harm. Our children are like butterflies, waiting to take flight. If we hurry them along or push them to be where we think they should be, it could hold them back from being all they could be. We need to be aware of each individual, take them where they are at, and let them sprout their wings in God's time.
Thank you, Mary, for sharing that story with us this morning. It was truly beautiful. And we did promise introduction, so why don't you tell us a little more about yourself?
Well, as I said, I'm at Our Lady of Hope. I'm the catechetical leader for 9 years now. This is my home parish, so I've been a catechist there for 28 years. For 3 years, I was at Faith, Hope, and Charity in Winnetka as the assistant DRE, and I spent 9 years with School District 62 in Des Plaines as a special ed program assistant in a self-contained classroom and then in resource. I've been married for 36 years. I have 4 children, adult children. I have 4 grandchildren and 1 on the way. And I continue my education at DePaul because we never stop learning.
Well, welcome to the show. We're very happy to have you. And Amanda mentioned we also have Terry Bergmann with us. Why don't you introduce yourself, Terry?
I am Terry Bergmann. I'm the Director of Religious Ed at St. Julian Eymard Church in Elk Grove Village. I am a long member of the parish, 38 years, and I've been married for 38 years. So my beginnings and life is really grounded in the community. I've also been a teacher of children with special needs for the school districts in the Schaumburg, Palatine, and Mount Prospect areas before I changed vocations and went to CTU and became a director of religious ed for the last 18 years in the parish. I have 3 children. 2 of them are married, and I'm very happy to be grandmother of 3 beautiful little ones today.
Wonderful. Thank you. We are so happy to have both of you here with your wonderful wealth of knowledge to share. We chose today's topic because we realize that our catechists and catechetical leaders are put in situations in their classroom that can be difficult to handle without having a special ed background or even a teaching background. So we'd like to discuss the needs that these children have and give you some strategies to help everyone in the classroom feel success and to have a sense of grace-filled belonging, which we want them to experience as a part of their faith journey and catechesis. So, Terry, could you start us off with what you're seeing in the classroom and how you're handling situations in religious ed?
I think what I'm seeing in the classroom is wonderful, loving people reaching deep into their hearts to meet the needs of all of our children and to bring them to that joyful growth in their faith formation. Mary's story in God's time frames the parish mission. I think of probably every parish catechetical program. Faith formation is about nurturing each individual member in their language and practice of faith with loving and joyful prayer, education, and support within a systematic educational paradigm and an environment that respects the personalities, the gifts, and needs of all the family members. The dignity of every person is paramount, and sometimes our catechists are challenged with behaviors from the children that cause tension in their teaching. That tension is only evolved because we need skills, because our children are coming with their hearts wide open. They love to pray, they love to learn, they love to sing, they love to experience everything about our catechetical programs. And so we do need to make more awareness of some of the behavioral patterns that are common to children with some specific learning or behavioral needs, and practice of sound education and behavior management strategies can offer the catechist support and his or her students the opportunity to grow as a small faith community, modeling respect and support of each other. There's an extra reward for all of the students who can acquire a few new skills in our environment that transfer to all of their learning opportunities, and all the children are respectfully engaged in the strategy, avoiding the labeling that families resent and work so hard to avoid. Our parish programs all embrace a partnership in catechesis, inclusive of the parish, catechist, student, and their family. Mary and I will be offering some resources and sharing several sound strategies for our catechists. Parent involvement is, however, fundamental and often critical for our children to be included in the parish program. Children who have specific learning or behavioral needs may need their parent to be present. Presence is a wonderfully amazing phenomenon. Simple support of the class setting by the parent positioning themselves strategically near the child can make a world of difference.
Do you find, Terry, that you start off your program, you have your catechist start off their program and ask the parents about learning issues that the children have? Is that how you would suggest to start off the year, to find out what learning disabilities are happening within the children that you have in the program?
With our registration program, we ask right away for the parents to share if there's any confidential information or specific needs that we can address, so that I can talk to the catechists and let them know that we need to meet, we need to learn more about this child that is in their classroom environment and may need to bring the parent in and work. And it's sometimes a little bit of an awkward beginning, but it's one that we find grows and matures.
Well, thank you, Terry, for those invaluable insights. I'm sure we're all learning a lot from it, but unfortunately, we'll have to take a quick break. But we're reminding everyone to stay tuned for more practical advice on how to manage tough classroom situations. Welcome back to Echoing God's Word. Amanda and I are here with Terry Bergmann and Mary Witt, two experienced catechetical leaders who are giving us strategies and techniques on how to deal with special needs in the classroom. Terry, I know we got cut off in the break there, so I'll let you continue with what your train of thought there.
Well, everyone knows our catechetical session time is very limited, so it's most precious. And when a child has inappropriate behavior that may cause failure, we want to meet that head on. We want to meet the child where the child is and grow forward. So our session time is limited, and we are a church of language and symbol and movement and action and art, as well as the written word. So our families want inclusion. They want their children to belong. They belong in this family of faith because of all those reasons. And I'm grateful to the many families who embrace that, and to our catechists who embrace a strategy of strengthening the partnership and bringing a parent in. I had for many years, the mother and or dad never missed a session for a young man who's graduated from high school now with Down syndrome. Clark was wonderful, and I think he brought everyone to tears when he received the sacrament of confirmation, and I shared his storyboard prayer, his witness of faith. That was pretty outstanding and could not have been done without his parents' help. It absolutely needed her. I'm grateful to the parent of our Jackie, our little second grader with Down syndrome, who's preparing for First Eucharist. Jackie needs language support as well as attention direction, and Jackie's mom, Karen, attends class with her and cues in to the main theme of the session, the ritual action, the shared prayer, and very specific language that she knows she can reinforce with Jackie to strengthen Jackie's expression of acquired knowledge. Should Jackie be overwhelmed on a given day by the energy of the room or just having a rough time attending that day, Karen has some hands-on tools to leave the classroom setting, reinforce language, make a visit to the church, or examine a prayer station in the church or building, and make it tangible out of the theme of the day. And then Jackie and her mom can quietly slip back into the classroom, rejoin, and bring loving closure to the day's prayer and education. This year, another second grader, James, also is diagnosed with Down syndrome. His mom can barely stop smiling when they enter the School of Religion because the experience is so loving. And the children in James' class stop, give James a hand when we are in church, climbing stairs, moving around. James is a little more physically active with distracting social skills. And the children now are almost oblivious to his energy because they know in moments he's going to rejoin the group with their song or experience. And I know that just sharing these two lovely stories sounds like this could be so easy, and it's not always easy. But our parents and catechists do embrace this very important partnership that is reinforced in all of our gatherings. And it's happening, it's working, and it's a wonderful thing to witness. If your child is on the autistic spectrum and supportive help is needed, I have parents that have done the very, very same thing. And because those children, as they grow older, don't want to leave the classroom or follow another pattern if they need a break and need to, again, make tangible or maybe speak to the language of that day in a different fashion, that parent knows exactly what to do. And again, their positioning, their presence makes the difference, and the child can be more successful. And we'll share lots of strategies that will help both the parent and the teacher.
So really you would encourage catechists to develop that relationship with the parents, because the parents are the key, to providing a successful atmosphere in some ways in the classroom too, for those with Down syndrome and with autism. And Mary, can you share with us some other strategies as well that are used in the classroom?
I can. First, I'd like to say that most of my background is in behavior, and through that, I have developed the philosophy that there's no such thing as a bad or naughty child. Sometimes their challenges that they have cause them to look that way, but their behavior in class when they're disrupting, that's a clue for me to try to understand what's happening with this child. Why are they that way? And be aware of their special situation. And working with the parents at home, as Terry has said, making them a part of it, helps me to know what to do in the classroom to work with the child to be successful. I have a story that is about that. We just had our Operation Rice Bowl prayer service at the beginning of Lent. Actually, it was the night before Ash Wednesday. And part of that prayer service was the story of the woman at the well. Well, the young girl, these were our level 2 children, so a second grader that was playing the woman at the well had a very difficult time sitting still. In fact, sometimes a very difficult time even sitting. And all through the rehearsal, it was up and down and fidgeting, and we thought, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Well, the parent is very helpful and let us know that, there's certain ways that they work at home and keep her, give her something to use to keep her occupied with her hands. So I gave her a ladle when it came time for the prayer service itself, gave her a ladle to just hold and said, you're the woman at the well. You can pretend to give Jesus water. You can hold it. You can whatever you want to do, but you cannot let go of that ladle. And it was perfect. It just turned out so beautiful. Both our woman and the little boy that played Jesus, they moved their mouths, they talked. It was like they were really acting it out. And the ladle was a big part of it because she could really buy into her part because of the physical object that she was holding in her hands.
So for kids who have a hard time sitting still, giving them something to play with, different teaching techniques during the classroom like that would help them to concentrate their energy, or taking movement breaks, making sure that your classroom is constantly moving, that you're not sitting too long.
Yes, absolutely. And, a bit of creativity, visual aids, hands-on activities, as you said, keeping their hands busy, their bodies busy, keep them moving. It helps you to tap into their different learning styles. Just so 20% of what children hear is what they retain and 30% of what they see, 70% of what they say, but they remember 90% of what they do. So it's really important, not just our special needs children, but all children, to keep them busy, let them use their hands. So, and it's important to keep the class moving also.
Yes, I think I agree with that. Even like you said, with all children, keeping them moving and keeping the class interesting. We will take a break now, and we'll be back with Mary Witt and Terry Bergmann. Sponsored by the Office of Catechesis and Youth Ministry. We're here with Terry Bergmann and Mary Witt, catechetical leaders, who are working in our parishes and helping out with children who have special needs. And we left off kind of talking about strategies with Mary. Mary, would you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, we were talking about how keeping a classroom moving is important, but just as important as keeping the children moving every few minutes to do a different activity, it's important for us to move around the classroom. I rarely stand in one place more than a few minutes, just because the children following me with their eyes keeps their minds alert. Plus, they never know when I'm going to land behind them or next to them. No matter how much you try, some children cannot keep control of their attention, though, even if they're on medication. And that's why we need to keep an understanding atmosphere, a positive environment that rewards the effort, not just the achievement. And a positive environment also gives children opportunity to let out their extra energy. We can invite them to pass out papers, sharpen pencils, different things to keep them busy if we see that they're moving around a little bit too much. But on the other hand, if we call on a child who is not paying attention or discuss a behavior in front of the whole class, that's putting that individual into a tension setting, and that is what we're trying not to do. And we can give children choices, give them two choices that you are happy with, two choices you would be okay with no matter what they picked, and that way they are taking ownership of their actions also. And there's also a few who are a little more challenging than others, and that's why I dig into my strategies. And some of them are you can first of all, wait until your classroom is quiet before you give directions. And when you do give directions, do one at a time because it's easier for them to retain them. Use a model or a visual aid, and then repeat directions and ask the children to repeat them to you. You can call attention to a group by raising your hand high. They all know this from school. If you put your hand up high and say nothing, it will catch on, and those that don't catch on, there will be peer pressure to bring them into the quiet mode. Another attention getter, especially with younger children, is to state loudly, "All eyes on me." It's amazing how this one works. All eyes come on you immediately.
I've also heard somebody say, "Close your eyes."
Oh, that's a
and
good
that
one.
Immediately they close their eyes and they're quiet too.
Very good. There's some simple techniques to bring focus back to an individual child also, because it's not always your whole class. Sometimes there's just one or two that you want to call back in, and usually only you and the child will be aware of it. These texts also work as a positive approach for those who are disrupting the class. A few are try walking and just tapping on their desk or their table once or twice. A simple hand on their shoulder will do the same trick. Sometimes just walking over and standing close by will help. Or throwing a child's name into the middle of a sentence is a sure way to catch their attention, and usually no one else will even hear it. Such as if I were to say, as Jesus was walking along the shore, Sam, he called out to the others. Only Sam will catch that his name was in there. Very positive way to handle that. Of course, there are things that we should not do, like asking a child or telling a child to look at me when I talk to you. I cringe when I hear that, because the last thing a child who's feeling bad about themselves wants to do is to look into your eyes. This is not a way to get their attention. In fact, it's a way to turn the child away and cause more harm than good, just like the man in the story did with the butterfly. Keeping a mutual respect within our classroom will help meet the needs of all our children.
Excellent. These are great strategies and techniques, and there are resources out there. So, Mary, would you mind talking about the resources as well?
Some real good resources that we've used. The Fat City Workshop, Frustration, Anger, Tension. The movie is called How Difficult Can This Be? It's presented by Richard D. Lavoie. It was made in 1990, but it still applies for all of our children now. I encourage everyone to look at that if they can, if you're in a classroom setting. Also, How to Talk to Kids so Kids Will Listen, and How to Listen so Kids Will Talk is a book by Adele Fabe and Elaine Maslish. It has a positive approach for making suggestions instead of telling a child what to do. It gives 2 or 3 choices that you're all right with, which is what I had mentioned earlier, and rewording sentences so that you are, like if you were to say, halls are quiet zones instead of, shh, be quiet. Makes a big difference as far as what the children are taking in.
Thank you. And Terry, you had a few resources as well?
There's a lot of nice resources that are developing. I just learned that our Sunday Visitor has a wonderful Eucharist kit, which is really great hands-on materials, as well as Loyola Press has a Eucharist kit that can be used for those children who need more tangibles. And if you go to the Loyola Press website, they have some articles that identify specific needs of children and offer a few strategies. And then again, sharing things such as what you're doing in your environment on Joe Paprocki's website for Catechist Journey. You will find things that are going on around the country. And even in Chicago, if you go to our CARE website, we're going to start linking strategies. On a little one I'd love to share with all of Chicago is the Sharper Images strategy that I'm using at St. Julian, and kind of developed customized to form our young disciples. And that comes from inspiration from the University of Kansas learning strategies that have been around for quite a while, but developed by Don Deschler at University of Kansas and his team.
Well, thank you, Mary and Terry, for sharing all of these resources and strategies. I know it's definitely helpful to any catechist or catechetical leader, parents who are listening. And if you've been inspired by today's topic, you should consider coming to some of our events that are sponsored by our office as well, the Office for Catechesis and Youth Ministry. And you can find a complete calendar of all our events on our website, www.catechesis-chicago.org. I know this is still a ways ahead, but the Chicago Catechetical Conference is having a little bit of a change this year. We're doing it on a Saturday and a Monday. That's November 3rd and 5th. Sunday will not be part of the conference. So just so you're aware of it for when it's coming up, but more information will be on our website, which you can check for any and all events that we're sponsoring. So again, thank you, ladies, for being here. It was wonderful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, we do offer a workshop for any of the catechetical leaders who are interested. We can come in and talk to your catechist. If you'll get in touch with me at athompson@archchicago.org. Thank you to our listeners, and we'll be back in April to talk about the Eucharist.